For one thing, I'm kind of surprised that such a large percentage of my audience actually have souls. That means that at least some of the subscriber bots that I've programmed have gained sentience, which is a problem we're going to have to deal with another day. Recently, I asked you what your biggest writing obstacles are, and boy, did you deliver. And by deliver, I mean you picked from one of the 5 options that I provided you in the poll. And there were some surprising results. So today, let's talk about some of these common problems and some of these solutions. If you haven't voted in the poll yet, you still can. I'm looking forward to the percentages dramatically changing after this video is published. All right, first up, no time to write with 20% of the vote total. But what percentage of people didn't have time to answer the poll? This one, I think there are 2 categories to. I think there are genuinely people with massively busy lives who absolutely do not have time to write. And then there's other people who feel like they don't have time to write, but if you dig in below the surface, they probably actually do. For the first group, if you legitimately don't have time to write because you work 85 hours a week, are a medical student, or have like 6 kids at home, then I don't know really what I can say to help you. For the other group, there are a few things that we can talk about. Feeling like you don't have time to write and not actually having time to write are 2 very different things. I couldn't find reliable stats on this, but I found several studies showing the average phone screen time per day is like 6 to 7 hours. I've also seen studies that the average American watches like 34 hours of TV every week. So if you fall into either one of those camps, you probably have quite a bit of time to write during the day that you aren't using. No matter what you do, you spend every hour of your day doing something, even if it's just staring at the walls. If you want to fit something new in, like writing a novel, then some of that time that you're spending on other things is going to have to change. Your options are either to sacrifice something that you're already doing and do less of it, or do something more efficiently so it takes less time. You have to make a judgment of whether the screen time or TV or whatever else you're spending your time on is more important than your writing. But if writing is important to you and you have a schedule packed full of other things that are also important to you, then something's got to give. You have to reprioritize. You have time to do anything, but you don't have time to do everything. Remember that. Time is one of your most important resources, and once it's gone, it's impossible to get back. Well, it will be, but I need to figure out how to synthesize plutonium in my workshop. Still working on that. Next up, writer's block / lack of ideas. This is purely anecdotal, but I've not heard a lot of people being like, man, I really want to write a novel, but I don't have any ideas. I think normally people have an idea and then want to write a novel. I don't know of many people who want to write a novel but don't know what kind of novel they want to write. It might be a way more common problem than I think it is, but my advice here is not to get fixated on the idea. Execution matters way more than the idea itself. A really good premise or a really good idea for a novel is not going to overcome lackluster writing. If you're just starting out, you'll get as much out of writing a generic novel than you will out of writing one with a fantastic original idea. In fact, you'll probably learn just as much. You should write a novel with an idea that engages you, but don't let not having an idea stop you from writing. If you're completely stuck, then you can look up some novel prompts and just go with one of those. The potential and the quality of an idea can really only be assessed after it's executed on, and a lot of the interest and exploration of an idea that you will do is through the execution of that idea. There's another part of this which is writer's block, which I've lumped into this because it's kind of like running out of ideas partway through a novel. People will endlessly debate whether writer's block is a thing or not, and yeah, I tend to agree that 9 times out of 10 it's just somebody being lazy or letting perfectionism or procrastination get in the way of doing their writing. My advice to anybody in this situation who's facing writer's block, who's partway through a novel and doesn't know where to take it, is to just have your characters dig a tunnel. Just wherever they are, have them start digging a tunnel. You can't get around writer's block or over it. Sometimes you have to tunnel under it. Oh, your characters can't dig a tunnel for whatever reason? Then have them discuss why they can't dig a tunnel. What makes more sense than them digging a tunnel? Have them do that. So if you're stuck with writer's block, that's my guaranteed way to get past it. Have your characters dig a tunnel. Next up, soul-crushing self-doubt. This was the most common problem reported, and I think that's actually a good thing. For one thing, I'm kind of surprised that such a large percentage of my audience actually have souls. That means that at least some of the subscriber bots that I've programmed have gained sentience, which is a problem we're going to have to deal with another day. People vastly underestimate the importance of their mindset when it comes to accomplishing their goals. We get hung up on external factors and things outside of our control and events happening in the world around us, but a lot of how you do against those external factors has to do with your own internal state. You can have two people go through the exact same set of setbacks, and one person will just kind of give up and fail, and another person will be able to overcome and grow from those setbacks. The difference between those people is entirely internal to them. What you think and believe about your own writing is by far the most important element to your eventual success. Yes, there are external factors and luck and things has an impact, but if you don't have the basic core beliefs, that basic core mindset that sets you up for success, then all of that stuff doesn't matter. This is great because it means that these things are within your control. The downside is that conquering what goes on in your own mind is difficult to do. The entire field of psychology is about overcoming these things. Every single monk meditating in every single temple is there to overcome these things. Most people spend a lifetime just trying to get their heads wrapped around their own heads. Becoming a good writer is as much about just staying in the game as it is actively, consciously improving. Time and practice will help you to improve, but only if your thoughts aren't derailing you. You can study writing all day, get all kinds of critique, work with editors, evaluate your writing, figure out where you can improve. But if your self-talk is constantly degrading you and making you feel like trash, if you don't believe that any of this is going to matter, if you are convinced that you can't get any better, then you probably won't get any better. It sounds kind of hokey, but genuinely believing that you can get better is a crucial element to getting better. Your negative self-talk and your beliefs can often do things like turn progress into a setback. If you write 500 words today, but your mind is telling you that you're a failure because you didn't write 1,000 words, then you're never going to progress. You did the right thing, you had a success, but your mind still labeled it as a failure. How you respond to obstacles is a big determinant of your success. Are you going to give up, or are you going to see this as a reason to keep pushing, to keep improving? This is not about being delusional and thinking you're a better writer than you are. It's about accepting how good of a writer you are and focusing on moving forward. You can have a fully realistic view of your own capabilities and still have a positive mindset about moving forward. Nothing in the external world needs to change. You are what needs to change, not for anyone else's benefit, but for your own benefit. Next up, enticing distractions. I feel indirectly responsible for this, what with my several times weekly dump of new excellent content and my face, which is so hard to look away from. The sad truth is that writing will never be able to compete with your phone when it comes to short-term dopaminergic hits of whatever. Writing takes more effort, it's less stimulating on like a visual, sensory level. And I mean, you're competing against platforms and mediums that are engineered to grab and hold your attention. So it's an uphill battle, and like the self-doubt thing, I think dealing with distractions are largely an internal issue. My best recommendation here, if you're really struggling with getting distracted from your writing, is to focus on setting aside a specific time for writing and guard it against distractions with your life. If you need to use apps that block distracting apps, then do that. If you need to lock your phone in a bank vault, do that. If you need to take a pen and paper and trek 10 miles into the woods in order to write without distractions, then do that. Be religious about your writing time. I was going to hold up my phone at one point in this segment to be like, writing can never compete with this, and I wasn't able to do that because my phone is in another room, because getting these videos shot is important to me and I need to have a distraction-free environment. Also consider that giving into distractions can be more of a symptom of other problems in your writing process rather than the actual problem. You can fix those problems without really doing anything about the distractions, and the issue with the distractions will kind of go away because you've solved the underlying problem. This gets back to the mindset stuff. If you feel badly about your writing process, if you don't have the right mindset, then those enticing distractions will be even more enticing. If you aren't getting any enjoyment out of the writing, if you aren't getting any satisfaction, if you feel badly about it, then that can make distractions harder to overcome. You need to deal with those problems in your process in order to stop having the distractions. And last on the list, a cat sleeping on your keyboard. I thought more people would have had this problem. I was looking for some solidarity here, but whatever. My recommendation here is simple. Cats always do the opposite of what you want them to do. I wanted the cat to be here during this video as a visual aid to demonstrate this, and he refused to show up. So if you want to get a cat off your keyboard, make sure that the cat understands that you really want them to be on your keyboard. That is the most surefire way to ensure that a cat doesn't do something. I have saved humanity from catastrophe on numerous occasions by telling my cat every morning that I want him to go launch some intercontinental ballistic missiles. He, of course, refuses to do that because it's something I asked him to do. So there you have it. I hope this video has helped you with some of your writing woes. If you have more writing woes that weren't discussed in this video, please share them in the comments down below, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.